Welcome back. It is the Flow Friday Sports Show here on Flow FM, and it's time to talk Northern Areas Footy with Spud McKay. He's on the line with me right now. G'day, Spud. How's it going?
G'day, Dan. Yeah, pretty good, thank you.
Lovely to hear. Well, let's get into these games from last weekend. Last game of the season for two teams who haven't qualified for finals. Jamestown Peterborough ended up with a big loss to Crystal Brook, and it probably shouldn't have been as big as it was, considering Crystal Brook could not miss the goals. 27 goals, 5, 167 to Jamestown Peterborough, 4 goals, 5, 29. That's remarkable accuracy from the Brook.
Well, have a look at the half-time score. 13 goals without a miss.
Oh, my goodness.
You don't do that very often.
No, that is remarkable.
Yeah, so that certainly helped. But, they were just too dominant. It was a reunion, I think we spoke about it last week. It was a reunion weekend for Jamestown Peterborough, 1983, 84, 2003, 2004 and 2014 premiership sides were all there, and it was a great day. A lot of people around, but unfortunately the A grade just weren't able to sort of match it. The B grade was a really tight game, and that was one which probably cost Jamestown Peterborough a chance in the finals because they only lost by a point. But there wasn't the same excitement in that A grade game, unfortunately.
Well, not a good way to finish on the field for Jamestown Peterborough this season, but a fun finish off the field at least, with all those premiership reunions occurring, and no doubt they'll come back better and stronger next year. They've been decimated by injuries this year and haven't had their best 22 available really all year, have they?
That's definitely right. Matt White and Nick Rinn were two players that were sadly missed there last week. If you can have those in there, they're strong on ballers, all of them, but unfortunately injury has taken them out. So, yeah, if they can just get their full side there and perhaps add a couple to it, they'd be somewhere around it. But full marks to them, they stuck at it all year, and, of course, Crystal Brook, they get to play on Sunday.
So Mad Monday celebrations or Silly Sunday for Jamestown Peterborough, and they'll be looking forward hopefully to a better year next season. Broughton Mundoora produced a very good win over BMW in what was a BMW home game, 16-8, 104 to 12-10, 82, and they are peaking at the right time of year, Broughton Mundoora. They're a real threat in the finals.
They certainly are, and we spoke about injuries before, and Callis Freer missed a few games there, and he's back now playing really strong footy for them. And this is a bit of an unusual game because Broughton got away to a really good start, 5-1 to 1-2 at quarter time. But then BMW kicked a 5-goal in the second quarter, and 5 goals to 2 in that second quarter, and sort of got back on terms. But then in the third quarter, Broughton Mundoora kicked away again with another 5 goals to only 1 by Broughton. So that would be to BMW. So that would be a bit of an indication of where the wind was. And Bullaroo Centre is a little bit open up there. You get a lot of wind, and if there is, it can sort of favour one ground, and that's probably what happened there. And Broughton Mundoora, they finished off pretty well and won that quite on sound terms to be able to win that by that margin. But I would have thought BMW, they were happy that with a couple of quarters, but they need a 4-quarter effort.
Sam Dyer with 7 goals for Broughton Mundoora, Will Hewitt best on ground with 4, and Alex Kanga 5 goals for BMW. And the last game of last weekend, Orroroo over Southern Flinders, 17-12, 114 to 13-8, 86. And that's season over for Southern Flinders as well. Haven't made it into finals, but I reckon they'll be happy enough with that result to finish their season off.
Yeah, I think that indicates the improvement by Southern Flinders through the season there. They were able to kick 5 goals in the last quarter to a couple to Orroroo. And, that's a pretty reasonable margin against a team which we think is, certainly one of the favourites to actually take out the flag this year.
39-point margin at quarter time as Southern Flinders only kicked 0-goal 5 to Orroroo 7-2. So they actually won the game after quarter time. Perhaps if it wasn't for that wayward kicking in the first quarter, they might have given themselves a sniff. But No, Orroroo too good in that one. So that wraps up the regular season, and we look on to a massive first week of finals now. We'll start with the 1v2 qualifying final. They were the top two teams all year, Orroroo and BMW, playing at Melrose Oval tomorrow.
Yes, that's definitely right. So it's a home ground advantage. I looked back through results, and BMW did beat Orroroo there in round 9. But it was only by 8 points. And then the latest game that they had up at Orroroo, Orroroo won by about 39 points that day. So that's a bit bigger margin there. Should be a really good game. Orroroo under Tom Moten as their coach have got strong on-ballers, Darren Hughes, Dylan Fowlis, all in good form. Aidan Lee is probably the key, the ruckman that will can give them first use of the ball there. And Luke Bowman is one that I probably don't mention a lot, but is a really good player, and he seems to have the ability to be able to lift in big games, as he does when he goes up and plays association or zone footy. So he's another big plus for them. And Isaac Moller, Ollie Dignan are good up forward. BMW, on the other hand, their coach Alec Kanga in the centre, he leads by example there. And then they'll bring in Tom Drew, who hasn't played a lot this year, have injury problems. But Cody Wolford's been really good for them. Their backline is pretty sound. Matt Fowlis, Eric Brereton, Nick McCullum, Braden Battersby are all really solid players in that backline for them. I guess it's a little bit of an advantage for BMW to be playing home, but I reckon Orroroo may be just strong enough to be able to get through and go straight into the grand final.
Tips in for the Kangas in that one. And Spud, I'll be honest with you, I reckon I'm more intrigued in this elimination final. Lots at play here. Broughton Mundoora, they've won 7 of their last 8 games. They're in red-hot form. Crystal Brook have been up and down a little bit this year, but it is at Crystal Brook Oval, so a bit of fortune for them there, even though Broughton Mundoora actually did leapfrog them and take third on the ladder with that red-hot run home that they had. They've played 3 times this year. Back in round 4, it was the Brook winning by 62 points. Then in round 9, Broughton Mundoora by 55 points. And most recently, round 14, Broughton Mundoora by 39 points at Crystal Brook Oval. So Broughton Mundoora got the better of them in 2 of 3 this year, and they got a win at this venue already. Who are you tipping in this one?
Yeah, look, I reckon Broughton Mundoora have to go in as favourites. You've already mentioned William Hewitt. He has been kicking goals for them and is a really strong player. Sam Dyer is really good. Callis Freer, he's returned from injury, playing strong footy. Aaron Laverty, Kane Bowley, Charlie Dixon, all really strong players. Crystal Brook will rely heavily on Will Coombe. Jackson Richmond is good in the centre for them. Oscar Pedler in the ruck is one area where they may be able to get a bit of an advantage, but I wouldn't have thought it'll be enough in order to stop the brilliance of Broughton Mundoora around the centre bouncers there. Leo Coates, Daniel Hill up forward is good for them. It'll depend on who plays. There's a bit of a question mark about Braden Kirk. He didn't play last week against Jamestown Peterborough, but he was there running water, so I'm assuming he's okay. And the other one is Luke Capitola. Now, Luke has lost a lot of his pace, but he's still really good for his leadership and ability to be able to get his hand on the ball and then be able to, give his teammates a good opportunity to be able to make that centre clearance. So that'll depend a little bit, but I think Broughton Mundoora have to start favourites.
And while Broughton Mundoora have come home with a wet sail, winning 7 of their last 8, Crystal Brook have only beaten Jamestown Peterborough since the end of June, so their form's certainly gone downhill. They'll need to recapture some of that good form they showed in the first half of the year if they're going to get the win tomorrow. Big weekend ahead in the Northern Areas Footy Association. Thanks very much, Spud. Enjoy the action this weekend. We'll catch you next Friday.
Thanks, Dan. We'll catch you next week.